What up, YouTube? It's your boy Joe from Meteoric Serpents coming back at you for episode number 7 of the Colubrid Corruption Podcast. Today, I am very excited to bring to the platform Kevin from Mutant Reptiles. Guys, this is going to be an awesome episode. Everyone has just good things to say about Kevin, so this is going to be great. Kevin's a hog-nosed guy, and I had to rep my buddy Alvaro from Clover's Reptiles, prior guest as well. Go check out his episode. As usual, guys, actually not as usual. This episode is going to be, or it is pre-recorded. It's obviously Christmas Eve when this is getting posted. So wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Hope you're having a good holiday with all your families. You could go watch this back whenever, but I hope you enjoy it. While we're here, as usual, all my social medias are down below here. Instagram. On Morph Market, I have a few snakes available for all my colubrid lovers. Got some scaleless leucistic Texas rats. So if you're interested in that, I will give you a deal on those if you mention that you're from the podcast. Awesome. Last couple things I always touch on. I have Meteoric Serpents t-shirts available. I haven't been wearing them on the show. I've been liking wearing other people's stuff. I think it's cool to kind of rep their brand a little bit. But I have Meteoric Serpents t-shirts. If you're interested, I'd be happy to mail one to you. Just let me know and we can work that out. And yeah, lastly, I posted it on my Instagram this week, actually, but, I'm really excited about diversifying my diet with some quail. If you are interested, Blake's Exotic Feeders, he's down in Broward County for any Florida locals, and, anyone who wants them shipped, he will ship them to you as well. Frozen thawed quail. Let me know, and I'd be happy to hook you up with him. But guys, without further ado, Kevin has a lot of species. I'm really excited to talk to him and kind of get his insights on some stuff. So let's bring him out. All right. What's up, man? How are you?
What's up, Joe? I'm good, man. Excited to be here, dude. Anytime anybody wants to hear me talk about reptiles, I'm very honored, man. I'm very honored.
Yeah, dude. A lot of people have, good things to say about you. You've built a very big and present social media following as well. Your animals are stunning. Also, I always flip through everyone's Instagram and you just have high quality content posted throughout. So, and you've been doing this for a little bit, right?
I have, I took a little break. I've been around since the late 90s, pretty well. I've been around way before that, but I've been doing reptiles since either the very late 80s, the early 2000s, the early 90s. I was into it till about 2004, and then I took probably a 12-year break. And I got back. It's really cool getting back into it because when I got out of it, there was no information. So when I got back in 2016, the information world, it was just so much easier to keep, and everybody had everybody's posting how to keep, and it was easy to look up species before you had to hit the Encyclopedia Britannica and the library, and there was barely anything out there. So when I started keeping back in 2016, it was really, really different and really cool.
Right. Now, I do want to get into your roots a little bit, because if you've been doing this for that long, you're kind of like an OG in the game. I mean, you have knowledge that started all the way back then. I was well before I was even born. What got it started for you? What was that thing that said, I need reptiles in my life? Especially back then when, it started getting a little bit bigger.
Well, I started with the brown. I always catching brown and nulls as I was a kid, and I always wanted, I kind of wanted a snake to start off with, but my parents were not with snakes, so I got a green iguana. The worst thing you could probably get as a kid. It actually never did. Oh, that was a weird thing to do. Actually, it never really did. It really never did good. It was an import. I mean, it never grew for me, but it was cool. And I pretty much grew from there. And I was kind of a lizard person. I kept a little bit of everything. Never bred, never even thought about breeding. I got a job at a reptile shop called Natural Selections for
Awesome.
a guy named, he's really a cool guy, Joe Wazalewski. He does a lot with iguanas and conservation, and he travels to all the islands and does iguana conservation till this day. And he's just a really cool guy. And I worked for him. I kept pretty much everything lizard wise, leopard geckos. I did happen to breed leopard geckos back in, and it had to be like 1998 or 99 or something like that.
Okay.
But I just kept them. It was really cool. I kept like a 1.5 in a 50-gallon, all set up with sand, the worst thing that you could do. But it wasn't really bad because I never had any problems, and I kept them for like, I don't know, 8-9 years, never had any impactions. Everything was healthy. They were always laying, but it was super cool, man. I had the red sand with slate throughout the whole thing, a lay box with peat moss, and I would, when eggs were laid, I'd throw them on my back patio and they would incubate, babies would hatch. So, and they were all normals, obviously, because there were no morphs back then. But, then, I kept collared lizards and white throat monitor and tegus. Like when tegus first came out pretty much on the scene. I mean, obviously they were around, but when they first came on the scene, I got a black and white at the Orlando with a buddy of mine, Aaron, which is still in. He was on an episode of Snakes and Stogies, the Forked Tongue. Me and him used to go to reptile conventions when we were kids. And it's really cool because we still talk. And, I saw him at the reptile convention years ago. And he does venomous. That's his big thing, eyelash vipers. And but we came up together and got our first tegus. And it was just really cool. Tegus are a great pet. Savannah monitor, all that kind of good stuff. Chameleon. I had a veiled chameleon when I was a kid. Just really... I just kept one of everything pretty much,
Gotcha. Yeah. And as you kind of alluded to, I do know you're down near Miami, right? So you're another Floridian.
I am. I'm very South Florida my whole life, 305 baby.
Yeah.
So that's it, man. Still doing the reptile thing since 2006. It's a lot, it's a lot of fun, man. It's even better now. I mean, I love it now.
Yeah.
It's great, especially with information. Information is the key. I mean, it's so much easier to keep now. I mean, species do so much better as long as you get the information and you read about them. So easy to keep. I mean, it's almost like you got step by step, and it's, unless you're totally neglectful. I mean, it's so easy now. I mean, I can't even believe it.
Yeah, between the information that's available and also, some of these animals, back then were like, it was their first time, being here. A lot of wild caught stuff, a lot of imports, and, all that stuff's established now. So yeah, you're 100% right. It is a lot easier to keep a lot of these species now. What I am curious about is what led to that. You mentioned it was a 12-year break. It's a pretty long break. Life happened a little bit. Can you go into that if you can?
The reptile shows, kind of like, we did all the reptile shows. We used to go to, me and I call him Gerson. His name is Aaron, but I call him Gerson. Me and Gerson, we used to go to all the reptile shows. Tampa. It wasn't a Repticon then, but it was Tampa, I think, Fire Show they called it. And we used to go to Orlando, and then Daytona started in Orlando, so we used to go to those every year. And it was just so much fun being, 18 at Orlando or 19 in Daytona, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just kind of, ball pythons. This is gonna sound like I'm talking trash, and I kind of am talking trash a little bit. But ball pythons came on the scene in Daytona, and the diversity just went down the hill. I never really was a snake guy. I never, I don't know why I wasn't a snake guy. I started with lizards, and then I just never I wasn't scared of, I was semi-scared, not scared, but just kind of unsure of snakes. And you didn't learn too much about them, and a lot of berms and retics and all that stuff were like pretty much there. And then, I kind of had like a funny saying, like I never trusted snakes because they always stare at you, they don't have eyelids. So they're always staring at you. So, I took a break. Ball pythons came on the scene and ruined the diversity of Daytona. So I kind of stopped going to Daytona. And then I had a rhino iguana of mine that I loved that got impacted and died on me. And it was like kind of like it was really sad. And it was like kind of got rid of everything. I moved around. I moved to Tampa for like a year, and then I moved back, and I kind of just got out of it a little bit. I had a sulcata that's always traveled with me. I bought a sulcata in Daytona in 2000, and that's the only thing that I kept pretty much since then. So I wasn't 100% out, but because I still have that sulcata today. Obviously, I bought it in 2000. So yeah, he's huge. He's probably like 130 pounds, maybe more. I don't know. Yeah, he's cool.
I feel like when you love these animals, you can never, I say it all the time. It's like one of my things at this point. Like even when you're out, you're never fully out if you really love these animals. And I mean, how could you get rid of something like a Suata Tortoise? That thing's going to outlive us.
I know.
Yeah.
It's cool. He's mean. I'll tell you, he's mean as shit, man. he is. He's not a cool. They're not like having an Aldabra or something. Because Aldabras, they're all like real. I mean, I guess some people, they're all individuals, and I've seen nice ones, but mine's a jerk, man. I mean, if you're sitting in a chair and you don't see him, he'll ram your chair. During breeding season, he'll run you down. He's ruined a bunch of barbecues of mine. He'll just run over barbecues because he just free roams my backyard. But I love seeing him, man. And honestly, like if you're doing dishes in the kitchen, you're washing dishes and everything, and you see this, it's like a dinosaur walking by, eating grass because he just eats grass, man. I mean, I do feed. I throw him some scraps here and there, but he's just naturally a grazer, man. And wherever I move, I just have him grazing in the yard, and he does perfect, man. Just grazing, and it's just cool seeing a dinosaur. So fast forward through those 12 years, 2016. My daughter, she's really interested in reptiles, and I took her to Daytona. I'm like, oh, reptiles! You got to go to Daytona if you want to interested in reptiles. And my wife is like, no, don't come back with anything. Well, come on, bro. You're going to Daytona and not come back with anything? That's crazy. So I came back with 3 leopard geckos, man. And I was like, I think I had a 1.2 or something like that. But they, I didn't really know anything. I mean, when I left, there was no lineage. And if you know anything about leopard geckos, I mean, people they're really anal about genetics and like lineage. And if you want to get into breeding, it's you need to know that stuff. You need to get from reputable people. You don't breed pet geckos, and you got to be really strict about that. I had them. I wound up selling my first ones probably like, I don't know, last year or the year before. I petted them out. I kind of like slowly getting rid of I keep like a lot of wild type leopard geckos still, and a few morphs that I've been working with over time. But when I got my 3, I'm jumping ahead. When I got my 3, I started I got on the internet to learn about them. And then I started learning like, hey, you need pet geckos versus this geckos. So I'm like, I'm not going to breed them, but I was keeping them together. So obviously they bred. and I hatched out some babies and I petted out the babies. And I'm like, oh, this is easy. This is even easier than when I was. And I learned a lot about them. I kept them. I mean, oh, don't do sand, blah. I never did sand. I did paper towels pretty much the whole time. And then I was like, oh, I can racks. I mean, we had racks for snakes when I was working at Natural Selections.
Okay.
But I was like, oh, I have racks, man. And even better, they you can keep them in racks, and then they eat out. You don't need crickets anymore. Like, they eat crickets pretty much all the time. Now you got these mealworm dishes with these little lips that keep them in there. So I'm like, oh, you could have and all these different morphs, and I'm like, oh wow, man, leopard gecko. I still love leopard geckos. The leopard geckos are like amazing. I mean,
and you still have a bunch of them, don't you?
Oh, I have a bunch, man. I have a bunch. Like, I mean, I had a lot. I sold a lot like last Daytona, and probably like 85 or something like that. I still have 40, mostly wild types, the different genus right there, the different species in the genus that I still plan on breeding. I just love them, man. They have such great personalities. They're very like, they're all different, but they come up. I had this new, I was at Iguana Land and I picked up a new leopard gecko, and Thomas from Arizona, Thomas, I can't remember his Instagram for some reason. Tucson's leopard geckos. I know that's not it, but it's Tucson something. It's like Tucson's awesome leopard geckos, something like that. But anyways, he's a cool guy. And I got this clown, no known heads, and it's super cool, man. I mean, that thing's so personable. Anytime I open the tub, it's like creeping up on me. I mean, they have great personalities. I recommend if you just want a cool pet, leopard gecko is a really cool thing. I mean, some people think, oh, they're so like, normal and like everybody has them, but they make great pets, man. They're super cool.
So
go ahead.
I'll be honest. I kept a few leopard geckos at one point. The last one it had to be years ago, but unfortunately I didn't do a great job at keeping them, and it was probably having to do with my brother and I being a little bit younger and being a little naive to maybe some of their needs and their care. So we didn't do a great job with those, but honestly, they're really cool. I definitely wouldn't mind getting into them again at some point, because they are just really cool animals. I always enjoyed looking at them. And recently I had the pleasure of vending at the same table as Matt from Sasobec Reptiles. Cool. So he was cool seeing all his geckos. Yeah, it was a cool time.
Yeah, man. And by the way, I just got to say, because I messed up, Tucson's finest geckos, Tucson's finest leopard geckos, maybe, or something like that. But anyways, they have really cool behaviors, man. And that's basically what, they, like, if you have them set up nicely, they hunt they wag their tail. Yeah. They wag their tail when they're hunting, and they're creepy and they move cool, and they're just cool geckos, man. I really love them. But so I kept a lot of those, and I had racks, and I built all my own racks, and awesome. I just kept a ton of them. I built a baby rack, and I just had so many. It was insane. In fact, just like a lot of people, I bred too many. And that's kind of why I slowed down on them, because I must have hatched out a couple hundred, and I work a full-time job, about 50 hours a week, and it was just too much for me. And then, so I kind of, like, the last couple of years, I've been just doing a few pairings here and there for my own self. And I picked a couple morphs that I wanted to work with that really nobody was working with. And now I'm really not even doing those anymore. But I paired some important Afghanicus that I just hatched. I just got some eggs, and those aren't very important because they have wild type blood from wild caught, and the sire passed away, so it's kind of lineage, and they have wild blood. Their father was wild caught in Baglani, Afghanistan. So super important. And I'm probably going to do a couple more wild type pairings, and that's probably it. Maybe a few morphs. I don't know. I've kind of been transferring over. I've been kind of like I kind of got pigeonholed because I've always been like a Noah's Ark keeper is what they call it, like a little bit of everything.
Right.
And I kind of just got so immersed in I actually built a huge Instagram following doing leopard geckos, but I just got so immersed that I kind of was getting a little stagnant, like I was flipping through Instagram and just seeing orange leopard geckos, and it just kind of got a little boring to me. And I was like, I just want to try something new. And I also have a rhino iguana, which is really dope. So I love those, but I can't do too many big species because they require, the cool thing about leopard geckos and keeping in a rack, you can have a lot. And it's very easy when you're doing the same thing over and over again, changing, you kind of get in a pattern to where you can keep a lot and also, have different morphs where everything looks, and everything looks different. So you kind of get that idea. But I kind of I went to a buddy of mine house, John Lohman, and he's Palm Beach Colubrids. And I went to his house and I just saw these snakes that he has, Phrynonax pusillinotus and the Baron's racers. And I came home and I said to my wife, I need these Phrynonax pusillinotus. Like, I can't live without these things. They're just so wicked. So she's like, cool, get them. So I was like, all right, John, Phrynonax, baby. And I got those. And I actually, from the beginning, I had a plan. Like, when I decided to get into snakes, I was like, okay, well, I need 2.2. I always heard, like, if you're going to breed, you need a 2.2 because you want to get, like, you want to have a male, you want to have a backup male. You don't want to just have a 1.2. So I was like, okay, well, I need a 2.2 of Rhino. I wanted rhinos too, because I was like 2.2 of Barons, 2.2 of pusillinotus. And then, like, I kind of got wind of rhinos back in also then. So this was, I think, 2019. So I was like, okay, so I'm kind of like slowing down on the leopard geckos, and I'm thinking about what my plans are going to be for snakes. And it's always been colubrids. So I was like 2.2 of Barons, 2.2 of Phrynonax, and 2.2 of rhinos. And that was my arboreal.
Forgive me only because I'm not good on the scientific names. What is that one you're talking about? The middle one you just said.
The Phrynonax?
Yeah.
Okay, so
what's the common name on those guys?
You probably wouldn't even know it either. They're Neotropical Birdeaters.
Okay. No, I have heard that name.
Have you? They're from Costa Rica. So if you were to go on my Instagram, like maybe 2 reels ago, I put them up. They're one of the most wicked snakes you've ever seen. And I feel like everybody needs them, man. They start off looking like, if you were to sell them at a show or you were to see the babies, you'd be like, oh man, like they're just a normal corn snake, because that's what they kind of look like. But man, they turn into these wicked snakes. And they have this ontogenetic color change, and they have like keeled scales. And those scales, dude, they start turning like every time it sheds, you get a new. It takes about 1.5 years for them to start getting color. But every time they shed, they're a different snake. They got keeled scales. The males are, I forgot the word. The males are sexually dimorphic. They have these 2 little like ridges going down the back, kind of like, if you know what a ridgeback hound is, it has like, it's a dog. That's actually a dog. But it has like a ridge going down the back. That's what these males are like. They're so cool, man. Everybody needs those things. And they have red ones, and they start getting speckled with yellow. And John's actually, he's kind of like moving forward. He's like he's one of the people. There's not many people in the U.S. breeding them. They're from Costa Rica. And, he's playing with them, like trying to like match this color with this color and getting some kind of like consistency with colors, which seems to be working for him, man. I haven't bred mine yet. My males are big. My females were a little slow to start, but they're finally starting. My female might be ready in 2025, maybe. I can't wait. those snakes are wicked, man. So I'm sorry, I get crazy.
So you started with 2.2 of those 3 species.
Yeah, that was my arboreal thing. So that's gonna be that's all I wanted. Like that was it. And then I still love morphs. Morphs are killer, man. I wanted to mess with morphs just because that's fun. Messing with morphs is fun. That was gonna be my pure. Like I'm a purist and I'm a morphist, if that's even a word.
No.
So
I'm with you there, 100%.
So I was like, okay, well, one of my good friends, Jamie from J&C Hognose, he hangs out, kind of in like, I met him at Snakes on Sunset, and he hangs out in kind of some circles. I actually went to high school with him, same time. We didn't know each other, really? But so we graduated at the same time. We knew the same people, but we just happened to not know each other. And he lives like 5 minutes. Man, could that lives 5 minutes down the road. That's such some people call that a crutch. I'm like, man, I ain't no crutch. That's killer. So I went to his house and I picked out some morphs, and I was like, Hognose are going to be my morph, to work around and play around with it. But I'm not going to get crazy because, you can get too crazy with morphs. I just want to work on mainly Stormcloud. Stormcloud is a double recessive mutation in Hognose, which is the Exanthic and the Sable. And and when they hatch out, they make like the babies hatch out like a bright blue, like with blue lines. It's just really, I've never really seen an adult. I have no idea, but I just want to hatch out blue snakes. And so those are really cool. And Hognose, man, Hognose are super dope too, man. I mean, who doesn't love a Hognose? I mean, Hognose, I sold a Hognose today. I went to work and I brought a Hognose with me to work. And a friend of mine's nephew picked it up with his mom. And I was like, she's like, I don't really like snakes. I said, but you've never seen a Hognose, like when somebody sees a hog, like my snake, my wife didn't like snakes really either. But when she saw a Hognose, she's like, okay, I want a Hognose, like this. It's just adorable, man. Hognose are just adorable. You can't help it. And they got cool behaviors too, man, with the bluff striking, the playing dead, the keeled scales, the upturned nose. I mean, hissing, the musking I could do without, but they grow out. They must the hell out of you, but they're good at shooting it, man. It's amazing. They turn the tail at you, and bro, they'll shoot a stream right at your fucking face. Oh, they'll shoot a stream right. They'll shoot a stream right at your face, man. It's actually pretty impressive, man. I mean, I don't know. It's pretty impressive, but I don't like it. Yeah, it's interesting.
So you got into those also in 2019, the Hogs?
2019, was it 2019, 20? So my first year was breeding them in 2023. So I got the Hogs in early 2021, maybe late 2021 or 2020. Yeah, it had to be maybe late 2020 or early 2021. Okay. One or the other, because mine are my first year breeding them.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Awesome. And my kind of point going into that was you got in at the right time because hogs are absolutely exploding right now. And there's no doubt about that. The hognose market is just going crazy. Talking to all these breeders, and I've had the pleasure of spending a lot of time with Alvaro and being able to really like pick his brain. He's picking mine about other segments of the market, but really getting into the hognose. And it was interesting what he's telling me about the market right now. And it seems like in terms of like the top breeders, like it's still kind of small. There's a lot of people getting in at the pet level, but that's also a really good thing because that pet level is going to eventually turn into more of the breeders like yourself and like Alvaro and others.
Yeah, Alvaro's cool, man. I talk to Alvaro regularly. We're trying to get together. I'm going to have him over to check things out. Probably next week, maybe after the podcast. He texted me this morning. I've been kind of crazy lately, so we try to meet up, but it just hasn't worked out for us lately. Yeah, definitely. Hogs have been kind of hard for me to break into. I've been very like you said, the top breeders have a really good niche. I mean, people want to go to the top breeders. I built hold on, I see the sun's starting to come down. Let me throw the sun.
No worries.
So like the top breeders have their niche there, and they want to get snakes with the top breeders. Just like everything else, the economy's rough right now. The economy's hitting everybody pretty hard. I saw a meme the other day where the grocery cart is like the most expensive vehicle in 2023. So it's hard for people to actually spend money on animals, right now.
Right.
Right. I didn't have great luck selling hogs. I sold a good portion of mine recently.
Okay.
I sold one today. But they weren't flying off the shelves. Like I kind of like at Daytona, I usually do Daytona. I skipped a couple years because after I had a bad COVID, I did Daytona in COVID. Like I did my first Daytona 17, I did 18, I did 19, and I did COVID, which was 20. And it was awful for me. And I just kind of got turned off towards shows. And then I came back and I did this last year, and I sold a ton of leopard geckos and one hognose. And the hognose, hognose went to a friend, Billy Hunt, and he bought his girlfriend. He bought it for his girlfriend, and
very nice.
Really was my first hognose. I mean, it was super cool that Billy bought it because it was my. Dude, I like that. Billy bought it. Anyways, it was my first hognose, so I'm glad Billy bought it because I can't say that without smiling. Anyways, I'm glad he bought it, and just because it's always cool to sell something to somebody that you respect and that you like, so, and I'm glad Billy owns something that I produced, so that was cool. And I haven't had the best luck at shows, but I did better on Morph Market, and I did a little auction, and I feel like, I do the whole husbandry pro, and I really put a lot into my, when I did the auction, which I know people are kind of against. Some people are against auctions. Some people are for auctions. The hogs did really good. They sold really well. They were a lot cheaper than people would have got them for. But I kind of looked at it like it was a marketing thing, kind of, because I really do put my heart and soul. My wife helps me. She's huge into helping me out and looking good and really marketing. So we do husbandry pro. So I have all from the time they were hatched, I have hatch dates. If we send a whole sheet that has the parents' pictures on it, a picture of the baby, when they were hatched, and the whole feeding schedule, so it's not just like you're getting like a lot with us. So, I figured I sent out like 30 boxes or something. No, I'm lying. I sent out like 30 hognose. I sent out like 12 boxes. And everybody that got them got hognose that were eating like crazy. And they were, they had all this information, and it was really done correctly and right. And I feel like that's really good marketing. My name's not in there. So I figured, hey, now these people have my hogs. They know that I produce quality. They're going to you're going to tell their friends about it. And, they're still not going to be breeding next year. And maybe they were breeders, and they're still going to be like, okay, we want to get from Kevin next year, or they'll tell somebody about, hey, this guy put a lot of love and a lot of time into what he's doing, and they'll get something from me. And then next year, maybe they want to work on a new project, and I have the project they want to work on. They'll be like, hey, I'll still, somebody comes back and they'd be like, oh, I'll give them a little discount and this and that, but maybe not the crazy auction prices they got, but maybe the economy will recover by then, and I'll get a little bit more, and I'll get my name in there, and I'll become a little bit, hey, yo, Kevin, man, Kevin's the new JMG. I don't know. I'm just joking. You can't be the new JMG, man. You're gonna, but whatever, dude. I'm not trying to be the JMG. I'm just trying to be the Kevin B,
Yep. Gotcha. So awesome. And then I definitely want to talk about because you have both Barons Racers and Rhino Rats. So are we settling the debate right now? Which one is
Listen,
better?
I first of all, I wanted to say, like, I've always been preaching for both of them because I love both of them. I really, really love both of them. But gun to the head, it's Barons, baby.
Okay. I mean, that's your last name. How could you vote against it?
I know, I know, man. But the Barons are so awesome, man. I mean,
yeah,
they really are.
Yours
cool.
are beautiful. You've been posting them up. They're
you.
beautiful. You got some of the blues,
Thank
the
you.
really nice ones. So yeah.
Yeah, I had blues. I was lucky to get a blue. So I got my blue first, and I got lucky because I know Terry Burwell. I don't know if you know who Terry Burwell is, but
yep.
he's on Instagram. You could follow him. I think it's TB Snakes. He posted that he's going to post some eventually. So I hit the little bell on Instagram and to follow him to get the notification when he does. Put him on Morph Market, and like a week went by, and I saw the bell at like 11 or 12 at night, and I was like, I gotta get it right now. So I bought it right away, and it was actually super cheap, man. I mean, how could $700 be cheap? But today, $1,300 to $1,500. So
wow.
yeah, the blues have really gone up in value, and I wasn't counting on that. I just wanted the snake, and and it's funny because you had Skylar on, and I talked to Skylar all the time, and Skylar was like, yeah, I saw that at nighttime, and I just figured I'd do it in the morning, and they weren't around in the morning. They went that quick. Yeah, they went that quick. I mean, you got to jump. When you see something, this is going to be advice for whoever's watching this. When you see something you really want, don't wait around because it's going to be gone, and you can guarantee that. So you got to jump on that right there. So I got that snake from Terry, and try to find a female. I mean, everybody's got the same, like, you can get a male. It was still hard to get a blue male, but you could get a male way easier than you can get a blue female. So I was growing my male up, and then I wound up it's like I'm dropping Ryan. Ryan, the zookeeper, lives. He works at the zoo in Miami Zoo, and I know he works with rhinos and barons. So he posted he had some green barons for sale. So I hit him up, and he actually hooked me up because I'm down the road from him. So nice. I didn't have to pay, so he didn't have to ship it to me. I just met him, and I picked up a green female, which I suggest that if anybody wants barons, you don't need. I mean, the greens are insane. I mean, my green is beautiful. I mean, not all snakes are created equal, but some muddy out. But mine has a zipper going down the back, and I didn't plan on it, but like when I'm looking at mine compared to a lot of others, I mean, mine's absolutely gorgeous, and I really been looking. I'm probably want to get another. My green, I believe, has no blue lineage in the background, so I'd like to try to get another green one, green male. But I bought the female because I figured, okay, well, I'm gonna pair the green to the blue because my buddy John has a snake that he grew up that was a green blue pairing, and it's so wicked, man. It's like yellowish green with blue, like a stripe going down the back with like blue on the sides, or vice versa. I don't remember. I haven't seen it in like a year. Well, no, that's a lie. I saw it like 6 months ago, but I still don't remember. Anyways, it's wicked. So I figured, okay, well, that's cool, man, because no one really knows with barons like what they do. Like the only thing that I think that people have figured out is there's also browns, which I have a brown female as well.
Okay.
because I'm a completionist and I needed all the colors of the crayon box, so I wasn't going to be happy. So I think that the browns are pretty much considered dominant, because if you breed a brown to anything, you're almost guaranteed to get a brown. Some browns. I don't feel like they understand how the blues and the greens work.
So I wanted to talk about that, because funny that we did this episode. I don't know if you listened to the newest episode of Colubrid and Colubroid, because they brought on Chris Sharp, who was talking about Barons racers. That's what the episode was about. And I was like, of course, when I'm bringing Kevin on like that, it was so coincidental. And I was like, I know we're going to talk Barons today. What Chris kind of said is it appears that blue is recessive, and he has bred visual greens that seem to be het for blue to make blues. But there was also a thing where he was breeding blue lineage things where they hatched out green and they turned blue later. So he was wondering, are there two different lines of this blue, so to speak? He did say about the brown being likely dominant. And funny how this conversation goes full circle. I believe he gave John credit for kind of increasing the popularity of the Barons, because those have really exploded over the last couple of years as well.
They have. They're so dope, man. They're so cool. They're very active. They're very, they sight. They watch you in the garage. They get big. So if you like big colubrids, they're really cool. The males stay a lot smaller. They're just really cool, active snakes, man. And they do really well. I don't have any heat on mine. My garage is like 78 to 80. So you don't have to really. You don't have to really keep heat on them, which is a plus right there. I don't really I always joke around, and I'm kind of on a serious note too. I worked with leopard geckos for the last, since 16. So it's going to be 7 years now, mainly morphs. So I figured hey, a leopard gecko guy is going to figure this whole, blue, green, brown thing out, I can't figure it out now, because I did do a pairing last year, and I hatched out some, I believe, in December. No, not December, because it's December now. They were laid July. All I know is they were laid July 20th, and they hatched out sometime maybe a couple months ago. So they haven't had their second shed yet. When the babies hatch, they do a shedding maybe 5-7 days later. They shed maybe earlier. I don't remember. But they haven't had their next shedding. And I was talking to John today, and I was like, hey, so after their second shed, can you tell if they're going to be green or blue? And he's like, that's not really how it works. It's more of a super gradual thing. Maybe after a few sheds, if you compare it back to the parents. Now, John really just does blues. I think he has he's the last year, a couple years. He's gotten a couple greens, and I know he has a browns, and but he has a lot of blues, and I know he has that green, this turquoisey green blue coolness. Is dope, and so. I don't know what mine are going to do. They I don't know if I'm crazy or not. I pull them out. I got 8 babies. I had 11 eggs.
Awesome.
I had 11 eggs. I hatched out 8. 3, one never made anything. The other 2 died in the egg, unfortunately. They were kind of kinky looking. I don't know what happened. 8 hatched out. And I don't know if I'm crazy or not. In pictures, it doesn't show up, but I just opened one up right now, before I came, because I was like, dude, it would be kind of cool if I did this episode with a little 5-gallon with Barons on it. But I was like, nah, man, that's too much work. Because I was kind of I did so much shit today. It was insane. But anyways, that's another story. So I didn't do that, but I was it had this bluish, around the curve. I don't know if I'm seeing things or not, I didn't have my glasses on, so I didn't know if it was that. But I'm really excited. Somebody hit me up somebody hit me up and asked me if I had any greens for sale, and I was like, I'm gonna keep them all. I'm not selling any of mine. I'm not selling any of them, man. I'm gonna keep all 8. I probably won't keep all 8 forever, and I will let some go periodically, probably in like 6 months, maybe 8 months, maybe a year.
Okay.
But I want to watch them grow, because that's the only way you get ahead in this hobby. Not trying to like get ahead as far as ahead of other people, but for your, like, if you want to like really learn what is going on with a morph, or like what happens when you put a green and a blue together. Is it going to be an in-betweener? Are they all going to be green? If they're all like really bright green like the mother, then most likely, then like if somebody breeds like a blue to one, am I going to get 50% blue and 50% green, that are carrying the blue trait? I don't know. So I'm just going to keep them all. I'll probably wind up keeping, I'll probably wind up keeping like a 2.5.
Okay.
Maybe I'll let one go,
Let one go.
Now, I'll honestly, I'd like to get some. If I do let them go, I would like to get them in the hands of somebody that I know is gonna do something with them, and try to figure this whole thing out as Barons get more popular. I mean, everybody wants the blues. I think you should just get whatever you can get.
Yeah. Cool. And then let's see. Oh man, I was gonna say something and I totally forgot. I blanked.
Cool.
Yeah, but no. The episode I did with Sky really got my brain working on them. They are very cool animals. I gotta admit, I like rhinos, but I've been seeing rhinos for much longer, and I have not handled either species. So, can't really give a genuine
you're in Palm
opinion.
Beach, right? You're in Palm Beach?
I'm in Boca.
Dude, I'm like
I need to come by. I think you're like an hour and a half. It's a long drive.
Well, an hour and a half. When I go hang out with John, sometimes I shoot up. I leave my house early and I shoot up there. And
he's farther than me.
Yeah, we play with snakes, man. And I'm just like, I'm like, I think I get him psyched, dude, because when I get into his room, it's like being in a candy store, man, because he
has a lot of stuff.
Not only does he have a lot of stuff, the guy's an incredible keeper. He's an inspiration, really, man. And he's such a good keeper, man. And getting in his room is like a kid in a candy store, man. It gives me inspiration. I think I inspire him seeing his stuff, because when you really get into somebody's room, you guys inspire each other. Like if you go into my room, if you come into my room and you're going to see my stuff, and a lot of times you're working your stuff and you see your stuff every day. But when somebody comes into your room and they get excited with what you're doing, it builds you up, and then you get excited, So it's really cool to see other people's collections. And I think like more people have to get together and not just see stuff on Instagram and look at pictures and this and that, because like when you get together and you build a community and people come over and they're like, Barons Racers, it just gets everybody excited, man. And put some Barons Racers in your hand, put some Rhinos in your 100%. Hand. Alvaro is talking about it, and Alvaro wants to come over, and he was talking about, Alvaro's a family, he's got his family going.
Oh, yeah.
And I suggest for Alvaro, I was like, you should get some Rhinos for Alvaro, because Alvaro wants his kids to work with the snakes as well, know. And
he asked our group chat the same thing, and that was kind of the conclusion, is that the Rhinos are the more chill species.
Well, I wouldn't say more chill. I mean, as far as like Chris Sharp goes, he said he feels like Rhinos are more nippy. My Rhinos will never struck me unless I'm putting food in, or they think like if I'm going in there and I'm putting my hand down by the hide, they're always hiding. My Rhinos hide nonstop. But if I put my hand by the hide box, they automatically think I'm food and they'll go, but they won't bite me. They just kind of hit me with their nose. The Barons will bite you for sure, dude. Like you need a hook. A hook. I have my daughter is my daughter's 17, and I have a big green Barons Racers, and she was going in there, and I was like, lately my Barons Racers was my female's super chill all the time, like super chill. You grab her like nothing. Yep. But for some reason, she got food aggressive like crazy. So like you have to use a hook. Yeah. And like you don't have a choice. She'll bite you for sure. And I noticed that because I work with my snakes all the time. So I noticed that she was being food aggressive. So my daughter, she opened the tank and she was going in there with her hand. And I was like, yeah, Bree, you need to use a hook. And she looked at me. She looked at me with the eyes like, you pussy. And I was like, okay. And she just reached it because, she's 17, so she just reached in there like normal. I mean, nothing was crazy because we've always done it that way. She reached in there like normal, and that snake just latched onto her finger wrapped around her. And Bree's amazing with animals, dude. She's better than me with snakes. She took it like a champion. She's just like, she didn't even flinch, dude. I mean, I might have been screaming like a girl. I don't know. I wouldn't have so she's like, how do we get this off? And I picked up my water bottle. I started spraying it. So I said, let's go to the sink. We went to the sink. We put her hand and the snake under the water, and it let go. And then it was cool again. Okay. But it took effect. It got her good, and it sunk its venom in. It was on there a good minute. It was on there a good minute. So
that's what I was going to ask, because it's something we have to talk about with the species is what happened from there. Because if he latched on, or he or she latched on, I'm sure got some good bites in. So
so her hand swelled up pretty damn well, man. Okay, her hand swelled up pretty well. The bite was good. Her hand swelled up right away, and not only did it swell up right away, she lost kind of like a little mobility. Like she couldn't really bend her fingers, and her hands. And I have some good pictures of it. Her hand swelled up pretty good, and it was like that for like a good 4 days to a week, man.
Oh shit!
All purple. It didn't move up her arm or anything, but you could tell that she had been envenomated. And yeah, that word. She was envenomated. Anyways, whatever. Yeah. So you get the point. Now we know Barons Racers need to be used. You need to use a hook. But fast forward a little bit. We joke around because, obviously she didn't listen to me when I said, just like any teenager, she didn't listen to me when I said use a hook. So fast forward to Tinley. I went to Tinley for my first time, which was amazing. Awesome. Because I've talked to people since 2016 on Instagram, and I met these people, and it was just the best time. It was amazing, dude. I loved it. And I met Zach Loafman, which wrote the book on Barons Racers and False Water Cobras and Xenodon. And I had him. I bought the hardcover. I already had the hardcover, which I got for myself, but I bought the hardcover for my daughter, and I had him sign it. I had him sign it for her, and I had him inscribe, "Next time, use a hook."
That's awesome. I actually got myself a signed copy as well. I ordered it. I didn't go to Tinley, but I did order a copy, so I have one myself.
Well, I ordered it too. I actually have to get it. I've kind of messed up the hardcover already that was signed a little bit. So by looking at it, I really want to I'm one of those crazy collector people. So I want to get a soft copy so I could just, tear it apart,
Gotcha. Yeah.
So that's where I'm at on that. So
Cool. There is something I wanted to talk about as well. With the rhino rat snake. So I did notice on one of your posts, I was scrolling through, you have both of the quote unquote subspecies that they say, or it's not even subspecies, it's species. Yeah, full species. What is your opinion on that? Because in my research, I've been wanting to get a rhino. I'm hoping I could get one relatively soon. And I saw the Heinenensis came out.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
Heinensis, whatever it is.
Yeah, my bad. I'm probably
well, we're not.
botching
No. We're all not Latinists, so we pronounce it how we
Yeah.
pronounce it. Heinensis, Heinensis, tomato, you know?
So, in my research, and I'm looking at it, and it only got described, I believe it was the end of 2021 from my research. It was like September 2021. That's when all the articles were being posted. What are your thoughts on that? Are you noticing, is there a true striking difference that says to you, yes, these are definitely different? Or what's your kind of thoughts on that?
So, when I got them, I had like this weird thing that happened. When I got them, obviously they look the same. So the only way you could tell babies are this this scale called the L'Oreal scale. And it's a L'Oreal scale that's right by the eye, and it's split in two.
I've seen that picture.
Is split in. Yeah, so the Hainensis is split in two, and the Bulgari is just one big one. And so that's as babies. I mean, as adults, the Hainensis loses the eye stripe, but it's an ontogenetic change. So you really don't know as babies. The only way as babies you could tell is the L'Oreal scale. So when I got mine, I was a little upset because one of mine didn't have the split L'Oreal scale, the Hainensis, and one did have the split L'Oreal scale. So I'm like, what the hell's up, man? Like I imported them from Europe. They were supposed to be, Hainensis. One was supposed to be one. I got a 1.1 of Hainensis and a 1.1 of Bulgari. And I was like, dude, what the hell's up, man? Like these don't have the split L'Oreal. I didn't know what's up. And over time, they lost the eye stripe. So the Hainensis that I have, one has a split L'Oreal and one doesn't have the split L'Oreal. But both of them both of them don't have the eye stripe. So they look different. So without the eye stripe, they look like Kermit the Frog. But with the eye stripe, they look like the burglar. So they are different. But it's still like, so they described the Hainensis from like supposedly 6 specimens. So it's not like a huge scientific paper, supposedly 6 specimens. So at Tinley, I showed an importer my adult Hainensis without the eye stripe, and they told me that it was a cross, because now that's what they said. So I don't know who the hell to believe, but it kind of because you don't know, man. It
could explain it though, right?
Yeah, they could explain it doesn't have why it doesn't have those split L'Oreal, But it could also be like, so it could also, but how could you, if you're like, you're going to sell a cross, and it's a cross. So do you take a Bulgari and a Hainensis and you put them together? Do you get, like, are you going to guarantee like you don't get an eye stripe? You know what I'm saying? Like, how could that be you know what I'm saying? Like, how could you be sure it's not going to come out with an eye stripe? Like, you sold me a snake that is going to turn out with no eye stripe, because like that was my thing. Like I'll know when the eye stripe disappears, because they hatch out with the eye stripe, and if rhinos hatch out gray.
Yep.
But the one thing that this woman was telling me at Tinley was they look like crosses because the Hainensis have a deep green color, whereas my Hainensis have they look like in between the scales have this white, like almost like Minecraft type looking. If you've ever played Minecraft,
right? Like the rhinos, like the Bulgari do.
Yeah, like the Bulgari do. So I don't really know, but what I'm gonna do is as time goes on and people keep showing, like if anybody else, so she also had a Hainensis on her table for $1,000. I think I paid like 900.
That's what I've been seeing, like the going rate for. I've seen a few on Morph Market, and everyone has them posted for $1,000.
Yeah, so I actually got in early, so I got mine for really, really cheap.
Okay.
Like as far as that goes, because I don't think anybody knew that the market was going to go up, and it was also before COVID, so it wasn't like like inflation hasn't happened and people didn't start like charging like a boatload. Like everything went up at like during COVID, so I was able to get a pretty good deal on them. It wasn't much more than Bulgari at the time, and the reason why I imported the Bulgari from Europe because. Dude, my daughter's over here saying belligerent.
That's what Ryan says.
I think it is Belengeri. There's like an EN in there.
I told you she knows more than me, dude. Did I not tell you that? Yeah, I told. Okay, Belengeri, but whatever. Belengeri. Okay. I don't even speak Latin, dude. I'm trying to like. I didn't even graduate college, dude. So how can I speak Latin? I'm just trying to go with the. It looks like Bulgari to me, dude. Belengeri.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm probably. She's over there laughing at me. Who doesn't laugh at what kid doesn't laugh at their father, anyways, man? So I'm okay with that. I'm glad I can make her laugh. Anyways, anyways, you know what I'm saying. Everybody else out there, all y'all know what I'm saying. So, anyways, so she looked at it and she said, "So I don't know what to sell mine at. You know what I'm gonna like? If mine are crosses, I'm okay with that. The main thing to me is, hey, you want a rhino rat without a stripe, or you want a rhino rat with a stripe. I got them both. Okay. That's it. You want Kermit the Frog, or you want the burglar? I got either or."
Right. No, it's just interesting, and it's been, making me, I don't want to say question it, but like, I'm just wondering, I feel like I want to hear an actual scientist's opinion on it other than like the couple journals or whatever that were posted in 2021. Like I genuinely want to hear someone say why or why not, like if there's something DNA wise or if, they should be maybe just a subspecies or a locality type. Cause I feel like there's not enough difference to say this is completely different, like species wise. I mean, if you look at, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think scalation probably is a big deal. I mean,
okay.
Reading Zach's book, which I'm still like, I'm trying to like, when I read Zach's book, I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's a dipsatid? And I'm still not 100% sure what a dipsatid is. I mean, this guy that's trying to prove out what a dipsatid is, I mean, he's basing it off of hemipenes, and like, that's what he's basing a dipsatid off of, hemipenes, and everybody's arguing what it is. I mean, a L'Oreal scale split in two, it's not that big of a deal, but for some reason it's split in two. I don't personally think that's why I was never really huge on that. The eye stripe to me matters. That makes it much different.
Yeah, visually 100%. Yeah. But like otherwise, just even like body type, I mean, like they look relatively similar, which is why I wanted to talk about it today and get, since you have both, that's why I wanted to.
No, they almost look exactly until you look at the face. Yeah. They almost exactly the same. Mine look almost exactly the same. I'd like to see other people's adults. I've seen pictures of, I think, wild ones where they're just a bright green, like completely solid green.
Yeah, whereas I think I've seen that as well.
So that's why I kind of believe mine are crosses a little bit, just because they have. But if mine are crosses, they have to be like high percentage Hanon, because they're guaranteed not to have the eye stripes. So it probably has, like, I would think, just working with leopard geckos and how they work, I would think that they had a high percentage of Hanon in there with like maybe some Belegrini mixed in,
Okay.
you know, and like somewhere it got into the lineage because people didn't really know they were separated at that time. And somehow it's in there. That's why it has the pixelated pattern. But
Right.
again, I don't know 100%, but I will be honest with people, and I feel like over the years, we will figure it out, and it will come to, you know, people knowing what the real deal is, and I'm looking forward to it, man. But you know,
100%.
honestly, they are amazing snakes too, man. They are so cool. They're wicked, man. I mean, the snakes I work with are absolutely wicked, man.
Yeah. No, and the reason why like I question the name, and especially after reading the book by Kevin Messenger, the Asian China, like all the Chinese colubrids and Asian rat snakes and whatnot. You know, looking at all of the Porphyracea subspecies, like I keep 2 of them, but like those guys, I mean, they are different, like strikingly different in terms of pattern and color, across all the different subspecies. But again, those guys are subspecies, whereas they describe the Hainanensis as a totally separate species in itself, whereas these guys are more so just like locality subspecies. So that's why it was interesting to me, and why I wanted to, you know, see what you thought about it. And, you know, like I said, I'd be interested to hear what a scientist has to say about it.
Well, Hainan is an island, correct?
That I do not know.
I believe it's an island, and that's why they kind of split off into their own thing, and then they founded it on there. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't really gone that deep. My thing is stripe, no stripe. You know, that's my thing. And I haven't read Kevin Messenger's book because I wanted to get it, but it's like $100 and something, man, to try to get it, I believe. When I tried to get it, at least.
Okay.
It was super expensive. But I had a little chat with Kevin, and he wanted to he was like, "Hey man, when they grow up, I'd like to like take some pictures of yours."
Oh, awesome.
Or if he's in the area. So that would be pretty cool. I mean, I haven't read his book, but I'd like to, dude. I'd like to get it and check it out. I'm big into that, man. You know, so we'll see, man. I'll get that book, and I'd like to read more into it. But for me, it's stripe or no stripe, and that's how I'm going. That's my scientific. That's my scientific right there. Stripe or no stripe.
Cool. All right. We kind of touched on a bunch of different species. Were there any other colubrids we didn't talk about? You know what? You did have a few other things posted on your Instagram, a couple like miscellaneous snakes. So go ahead.
You know, I actually do have miscellaneous snakes because I would have a ton of stuff, man. I look at stuff and I hold myself back because I learned my lesson with leopard geckos. I kind of let them get out of control a little bit.
Okay.
I ran myself ragged a little bit. So I kind of wanted to stick to the plan of where I was. Like I told you before, the 12 snakes as far as arboreal species and the hognose. You know, that was going to be my thing. I wasn't going to go too much out of that. I didn't want to get every single morph in hognose. You know, I'm not trying to be, you know, the hot JMG again, just the Kevin B. And you know, Chris, of course, Pain Shab, you've had him on.
Yep.
And he's an enabler. He's like, hey, you want, like, one year he hit me up. He's like, hey, you want some banded, you want some, damn, what the fuck's wrong with me? You want some, starts with an A, Lamprepeltis, great banded rats. I mean, great banded snakes.
Yeah.
Alterna. Damn, Alterna. Yeah. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. You want some Alterna? I was like, nah, man. I'm gonna stick to my guns. I don't want some Alterna. So like the next year, hey Kevin, you want some Alterna? You know what? I could use some Alterna. You know, like who doesn't want Alterna? To me, if Alterna is Americana. You know, if you love America, you love Alterna. You know, that I'm serious, dude. Like Alternas, baby. from America, like America, Alterna.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I like Alterna. He's like, I just got a mail this year. I'll send you. It's not West Landry. It's West Sanderson. It's from West 3 mile west of Sanderson. His name is Kanye West. Anyways, for Wes Sanderson. His name's Kanye West. Anyways, nice. He's super dope, man. I love that guy. And I never knew how much I would love Alterna. And they're beautiful. I mean, it's red banded, black, gray. I love gray and black. It's one of my favorite colors. If not, it's not a color really, but I love it anyways. And so I got that, and I have that just single as a pet. He might, he's going to send me a female eventually, nice. A couple, maybe next year, maybe this year. I don't know, but looking forward to it. Justin, Herpetological Podcast, Snakes and Stogies. He always talks about how hard they are to get started, the babies. So that kind of like wigs me out a little bit and be like, maybe I just want it as a pet. But I mess with hogs, man. And like, I've done the whole, like getting into reptiles, like how, I started with like really easy species. And then I got some, the hog nose, which are hard. And you got to kind of like, when you mess with hog nose and you're trying to get them feeding, you got to kind of pull out all the tricks. Not only do you need the tricks, you need to go in with a mindset of like, hey, I'm going in the garage, dude. I'm going to throw on some music. I'm going to chill out. They might not eat. Well, that's life.
Yeah.
If you go in there and you're going to want to stress them out, you don't want to like sometimes like squish the little heads, you're going to get like mad, like, cause that's how like, it get me so frustrated and angry. Like, why don't you want to eat? But you go in there with a different mindset. So that's how you got to focus. So I learned with the hogs. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say, did you have a hard time with some hatchlings this year? I know Alvaro has talked about it a little bit, but like how was your experience, your first time experience with babies?
So out of 100 I hatched, like 50 were pretty easy.
Okay.
And then like the other 50 not so easy.
Really?
You pull out the tricks. Salmon worked for me, scenting salmon, and now I finally got them. And then Eslin of Exotic Fire Hogs, he's actually in Miami, and super cool guy, dude. If you don't know him, dude, the guy is so dope, dude. I never really got to talk to him. I saw him at a reptile show. He helped me out so much, man. He taught me like a trick I'm going to teach everybody. Is like put the pinky in the back corner of the tub. And bro,
really?
Bam. Oh, bro, it's so beautiful, man. They all because hog-nosed babies, they do circles around the tub, So like I guess they keep hitting it and they keep hitting it. And eventually I guess they just eat it, man. So that was a huge help. So thank you, Eslin. And and it's just like talking to people, man. That's how you get better at this hobby and learning and just keep on trying, like I just kept, I got hard species, easy species, harder species, harder. The hogs are pretty hard. I guess the next step, but we have a lot of brown and nulls. So I think that would be easy for getting the Alterna started, but I don't know 100% know. I learned some tricks. I use salmon juice from the canned salmon to get a lot of my hogs started. And that was really easy. So I hatched most of my hogs out in June and July, and I still have 2 that are on salmon scented. And it's already, like 6 months down the road, and 2 are still on salmon. Everything else is eating. I probably have like 24 left that I haven't put on Morph Market, but I'm not in a rush just because I'm not shipping this week. I really need to get them up, but I'm not shipping this week. Okay, so that goes there with the Alterna. I got 1 Alterna, and then I started thinking, what else do I want? And then Chris hit me up again. Hey, you need Janai, man. You need Janai. Janai are the best. Chris, as you know, I don't know if he's told you, Chris loves Janai.
No. Yeah.
Pituophis Depai Janai is the the Latin name. My daughter's not here to correct me, but if she was, I probably got it wrong. But that's how we're gonna call it, right? Yeah. So, anyways,
he had to correct me last week. Yeah.
So amazing snakes, dude. So wicked cool, dude. I'm like in love with those things, and they're just they're beautiful. And I saw an adult for the first time at a reptile show, and I was like, dude, I can't wait, man. And they're cool. They chill. They do the tail rattle a little bit, but for the most part, they've never bitten me. All my snakes are pets, so except the next snakes I got, because another situation that happened. But those things are kick ass, man. I absolutely love Janai, and I can't wait till everybody has Janai, because it's going to be a Janai world when people understand how awesome Janai are. They're just so damn cool. And I know Jake was on. I watched your podcast with Jake, and Jake is big, huge Janai fan. And I think that anybody who has them, man, is going to freaking love them. And then next step down the road is like, I've also, for the last couple of years, I wanted black milks really bad.
Okay.
And I never got them, because my idea was, hey, I'm going to have these hognose snakes, and when I breed the hognose snakes, then I'll use the money for caging, which I have caging coming. Blackboxcages.com. Nice. Anyways, black box cages. So I got 4 of those bad boys coming, and then I wanted some black milks, so I got some black milks with the money that I sold from Hognose as well. And so I have those sitting in the quarantine room, and then during my auction, Chris from BNS was on there.
Okay.
And he auctioned off some bull snakes. And me and my wife laugh about it, because my wife, she has a thing for auctions. She wasn't even really into snakes. She likes that. She just likes auctions, I think. Like, so she's been on auctions with like crystals, because she really likes crystals. So somehow I'm sitting here auctioning off snakes. I'm watching like BNS, and then I hear Mutant Reptiles. Mutant Reptiles is the winner for this. I'm like, what the hell? What the hell are you doing? And she wound up getting some bull snakes, a pair of bull snakes. So she's not a fan of those bull snakes, because they're mean as shit. And
but are they bluffs? Are they bluff striking? Or are they actually?
No,
biting?
these things are straight up biters.
Oh,
they're biters, man, all the way. But my black milks are wicked, dude. I'm telling you, go back to the black milks. Dude, black milks, they're supposed to get like 6-7 feet, dude. Nice colubrid. They start off looking like scarlet king snakes, and then, well, not exactly, but kind of close. They're beautiful red, black, and they just turn jet black. So I'm a big fan, and they're from Costa Rica. So Costa Rica's freaking fresh, pure vida all the way. But the bull snakes, man, they're cool, dude. They're cool in their own right, but they're another morph I wasn't planning on having. Now I have a pair of bull snakes, and then a friend of mine that's kind of been a supporter, which is weird that he was a supporter from the beginning, even when, like, in 2017 when I did my first show. Matt from Peach State Pythons. I don't know if you know who he is. He breeds retics, and he used to breed Burmese before they banned him in Georgia.
Okay.
He had on his Instagram a bull snake that he had one baby left, and it was a white-sided axanthic possible head patternless. And Matt is such a dope guy, and I always wanted, like I said, I want to support people that I love, and I was like, dude, I need to get something from Matt. That snake's fucking wicked. And I hit him up, and he's like, I got one left. I was like, how much? He was like, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, that one's mine. And like the next week he sent it to me, and he hooked me up. First of all, I mean, it's an insane snake. It's super chill, dude. And I gave it to my, I bought a self gift. I'm like, baby, this is for you. You want bull snakes? and she calls it a self-gift, and it kind of is a self-gift, but she likes it. She named it Pumpkin. She's in love with it.
Cool.
We take it out. It's super cool. It's not like the other bull snakes, this one's super cool, and I mess around. Matt's super cool, so why wouldn't his snakes be super cool, And it's so beautiful, man. It's got like high white sides and a black like stripe, like pixelated stripe going down the back. And it's gonna be, it's gonna be 6 foot long, man. Big ass. Have you ever messed with a big ass bull snake?
Yeah, I have messed with an adult actually.
Yeah,
like
they're
good,
cool,
like
man.
5-foot animal.
They're pretty impressive, and they're like a powerful animal, and like they're not like a little like holding a 4-foot
they're
king
good.
snake.
They're a good size.
They get girth, they get girth. They have the keeled scales. They're really wicked, man. So
yeah,
that's where I'm at with those. I have about 6-7 snakes in my quarantine room because I haven't gotten snakes for probably like 2 years. Maybe like a year because Chris was sending me shit, but like a year maybe. I haven't gotten any snakes for. So I got all those in the quarantine room. I'm big into wild types, so I got a cool hog nose from Lubbock, Texas, a wild type. That's an F1 from wild type parents. Well, that's really cool. I have that in there. I'm gonna get a male also from Kevin something. His name's Kevin. He wrote a book on hognose. I can't remember his name right now for some reason, but he's a cool guy too, man. Hognose1 is his Instagram.
Okay, got it. All right, awesome. And then besides the colubrids, I always like talking about all other reptiles because one thing that has been very evident with other colubrid keepers is that they really have diverse collections. They can't just keep one thing. And you just rattled off a ton of species, so that already goes to show. But obviously the geckos are still, playing like a decent part in your collection. Yeah. I know you said you moved away from some of them, but I still see you post plenty of the leopard geckos. You have some of the New Caledonia stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm probably going to go away from the New Caledonia stuff. Except for I do have, I have some crested geckos, not many. I have I moved some out, but I have three adults. I bought a lily white. It was supposed to be a male that turned out to be a female. And I was just figured, okay, well, I hatched out. My daughter got into the crested geckos and she bought a pair of Dalmatians and we kept them bioactive and the babies would just hatch out on their own. Dude. We didn't even one day you just see a baby in there, you grab it. Well, we sold all those. I figured it'd be cool to have like a lily white. And then I got this in 2018. We bought which turned out that how they're discovering like these morphs, recessive traits in cresteds now. Well, it turned out to be a super striped or a super empty back. So I was like, okay, well, it'd be cool to put a lily white with a super empty back. But the lily white turned out to be female as well. So I was like, okay, well, I really don't want to do crested geckos anymore. It's kind of like hampering on what I'm trying to do. It's just taking too much time doing them.
Okay.
So we're gonna move them on, but I still love them. I mean, dude, crested geckos are awesome, dude. I mean, to have one is wicked. They're freaking amazing as well, dude. I mean, you see so many of them, so people like it's just a crested gecko, but dude, they're fucking awesome, dude.
No,
they're such cool.
My brother got a pair of them from Daytona. I really like them. They're awesome.
They're the way they jump from hand to hand, and they're the way they feel. Their skin's like silky smooth. Yeah, and I just love them, man. They're really cool. But I'm so into the snakes, and really snakes have really, really top dog right now. I just love the snakes, and that's where I want to go. So, it's kind of hampering what I'm doing, and I'm trying to move all my snakes into big cages, and so I kind of got to move. I'm going to move some of those on. It's funny because I moved my Baron's into an old crested gecko. I didn't clean the substrate. I pulled, I cleaned it semi, but I didn't go crazy through it. Well, like I tell you, like a month ago, out of nowhere, I sold those crested geckos like 3 months ago. Out of nowhere, a little baby popped up. So
really?
like 3 months later, a baby hatched out of the substrate of the Green Barons Racer, man. Yeah, it was like insane. So that those, but we're gonna move those on, and then I have a lychee, which is not moving on. It's his name is Pickle, or her name is Pickle.
Okay.
She's really cool. She's wicked. My daughter takes care of her or him, or they, whatever you like. But my daughter takes care of them, and he's really cool, man. And they's really cool, and we love those. So we love him. So really wicked. And then I'm gonna keep those, but I'm not gonna breed them, man. I don't want it. I don't want to do any of that. I just like keeping different species. And that one's a staple. That one's staying here. It was given to us by a friend, Starborn Reptiles. Really cool people. So that was given to us as a pet. And then we have some collared lizards. My wife fell in love with this little baby collared lizard. His name's Pipsqueak. And then we have another collared lizard that we were vending next to these people. I can't remember their name, and I, even when I remembered, I can't pronounce it. But Intrinsic Reptiles or something like that. Really cool people. They hit me up on Morph Market. They tried to get me on Facebook for like a month, and I don't do Facebook, so they got me on Morph Market. They said, "Oh, your daughter's so awesome. We want to give you one of our collared lizards." So they sent it to us, and so we have that one too. And then went to Iguana Fest like a few months back, and I bid on I bid on two. I got the one from Thomas, the gecko from Thomas, and then I also got a Yucatan spiny-tailed iguana, which is really cool, man. They look wicked. A lot of people mistake them from Uromastyx, but they're kind of they're an iguana that's like 5-6 inches.
Interesting.
Big. It's a defensor. It used to be a Tenosaur, but they changed the first Latin name. I'm not sure what it is still. And then so I have that guy, and then I have a rhinoceros iguana, she's my love, man. She is amazing, dude. Like amazing. You can't even believe how cool this iguana is, man. It's like a dog. You go out, we keep it in a cage in the backyard. I really need to get a bigger cage for it. I mean, it's a big cage. I mean, it's like an 8x8 octagon walk-in cage, but it's big for it. But when you walk in it seems kind of small for me. So I like to chill in there. And dude, it's so cool, man. It's like a dog. You sit down on the log and it actually crawls into your lap and just plops down, and it like scratches, and it's just really, really cool. Her name is Starfire. After we like Teen Titans Go in this house. I don't know if you know that cartoon.
I know of it. I haven't watched it.
Wicked cartoon, dude. You gotta watch it, bro. It's such a good cartoon, dude. I like cartoons. Anyway, not all cartoons, Looney Tunes and Teen Titans Go, but probably Fresh Flintstones and stuff like that. But that's another podcast. But anyways, and after Starborn, because we got it from our friends at Starborn, so we put those together and came up with Starfire. Starfire is also a character on Teen Titans Go, so it works out perfect. But it had, I don't know. I've raised other iguanas, and this one just is a different animal, because when we got it, my son, it just happened to be the perfect storm. You need to put a lot of time, just for anybody that wants to raise any type of big lizard iguana, whether it's a monitor, an iguana, an alligator. I don't know alligator, but whatever, a monitor or some kind of tegu or anything, they require a lot of time and a lot of dedication. And if you want it to be, social animal, you have to put the time in. Otherwise, it's going to be something scary. and it's going to come after you, and you're not going to, you'll eventually maybe neglect it or move it on. But if you put the time in from the beginning, you're going to have an amazing animal that's going to be with you for a very, very long time. And that's what happened with Starfire. Starfire was hatched the same time as my son was hatched. And Starfire was put into my son's enclosure, big ass playpen. We put Starfire in there, and my son's always climbing all over his enclosure, and he was throwing balls at the tank and kissing the tank. And my wife was home with my son, and she would feed Starfire. Like, when you're raising an iguana, you have to like give it treats. So like, you don't want to feed it fruits. You want to give it fruits as snacks. So and interactions and stuff like that. So my wife would give it apples and strawberries as interactions, so it would know that we were good people. And my son was always like, you want to keep it in like a very high trafficked area, so it's always seeing people in and out. And again, well, this is the way I did it, at least. I mean, I'm sure there's other ways, but that's how we did it. And now we have an amazing iguana for the rest of our lives.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome.
So that, and then I have the sulcata that's been, and we already went over him. He's a prick, but he's still dope, man. He's like it's like Jurassic Park in my backyard. So I love him. I hear sometimes you gotta get rid of him, but that's never gonna happen in my book, man. He came when me and my wife together. He's already been with me for 14, 15 years, and he's a staple in my life, so he's gonna be with me until the end of time, man. Until I move him on to hopefully a family member or somebody that's gonna love him and appreciate him for what he is, because he's super fresh, man. Cheers to his name is Tank as well. So
Tank, there you go.
Yeah, his name was actually it's such a stupid name, but when I was younger, I was like, I never really named things. So I'm like, I'm going to call him Torty for tortoise, and he was just like this big, dude. So, and then back in 2004, my buddy watched him for me on his farm. He's like, dude, you got to give him a different name. And I was like, all right, well, let's, he's like, how about Tank? I said, Tank's cool, dude. He runs over shit. So that's how he became Tank.
There you go. Awesome. All right. Well, very cool. And then moving on, I always like asking people, what does the future hold for you in your collection? Where do you see mutant reptiles going in the next 5 years per se? Are there any species adds? Is there anything you're working towards? I know you had mentioned like the storm cloud with the hognose, but anything other than that?
Really, no. I'd like to move on with the Barons racers. I would like to figure it out. I know Skylar has an idea of a yellow one. I've always supported the yellow one. I think the yellow one can happen. From the beginning, I was all about the yellow one, even before I even met Skylar. And I was like, dude, there could be a yellow one, because I've seen close. And I think the idea of getting to a yellow one is going to be blue-green pairings, and just kind of moving from there. So I'd like to see like that. Skylar's got to move on the blacks. I'd like to see some more morphs, maybe some line breeding. I'm going to line breed. Like, I'm big into line breeding. I come from the leopard gecko world. I don't want to do a lot of inbreeding. I don't know. I'm only in first year breeding hogs, so I'm not 100%, but I've done a lot of research, and I've talked to a lot of breeders, and hogs aren't something you want to just put together like leopard geckos and do a lot of inbreeding, because there's going to be inbreeding depression. So I would like to do some polygenic breeding with hognose. I kind of started this year with introducing shadow to some red coloring, and I want to do some shadow with some maybe lemon ghost and see where that goes. And so I want to do some live breeding and some color, because I feel like polymorphics is kind of left out of hognose, whereas recessives are a huge thing in hognose, and recessives are a huge thing in ball pythons too. I feel like more people have to try to make like beautiful stuff, like let's take your orange dream, something that people have been, let's take your pastels and your whatever it is, and just make more better looking ones, you know? So I feel like some of these recessives could be made better with some polygenics. And that's what that's kind of what that I felt like, hey, I'm going to get in. That's why I picked hognose, because I'm like, there's something lacking, my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong. I mean, this is my first year breeding. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like hognose were kind of lacking that. So that's why I got into hognose, because I feel like I could add something, maybe being a leopard gecko breeder and breeding polygenics, that I could add something to the hognose world. I'd also like to breed, you know, I'm next year should be my first year moving forward with rhinos. So I'm really, really excited about breeding rhinos. That's going to be dude, that's going to be so cool to breed rhinos after breeding. But then like also blue barons, like I can't wait to put my blue female with my blue male. That I don't know if it's going to happen next year, but it's definitely going to happen in 2025. I don't know if I'll get eggs. You can never say definite. And that's going to be pretty much it. And I can't say, because I hold myself back. I wanted to also get file snakes, but I'm kind of like, I love files. Obviously, a lot of my stuff is very like niche that I like, you know, like very different looking stuff. And I feel like file snakes are very different. I love the fact that my black milks are going to like slowly turn black and get really, really big. I believe they're the biggest milk snake out there. I'm like either that or Hondurans, but I think that black milks
Hondurans get big. I'm not sure about the blacks.
No, blacks definitely get big. The person I got my blacks from are from San Diego zoo stock, so they're like pretty much pure Costa Rican. And I believe his male is 7 foot long. So that's a big milk snake right there.
For sure.
So that's pretty much it, man. I mean, I was thinking I was going to try to breed the Yucatan spiny-tailed iguana, but I'm not 100% on those, because they're kind of not like, they're more of a shy species. So like, I'm very into interacting with everything, you know, and I'm a little disappointed that some of my bulls are so mean, because, you know, it's just, you're getting bit so much, man. I'm not all about that bite. I'm not about that bite life, you know? So I feel like they'll come out of it though, man. I see people with adults and they always look pretty chill. So I just got to work with them, and hopefully I can get them to be, I mean, dude, you seen that whole, man, they stand up. Their mouth, their jaw like looks broken, man, and they're like just their tongues out wiggling. They're crazy, man. It's kind of like very, very like, I don't know, a little scary. But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm going. I'm gonna work with the hogs. I'm gonna breed a couple little morphs here and there. I have some polygenic stuff that I've been doing. I put purple line and shadow together with art, and it has some Arctic in there. And I mean, the babies are different from anything I've seen. Different from anything I've seen. So I'm really psyched about that, and I can't wait to move forward with that. I have some a Raging Red lineage, which is a hognose that was line bred for like really deep red. I'm not going to put them together. I hear they don't do well when you go male to female Raging Red, but I'm going to add it into other like purple extreme red lines, add it into the, like maybe in 2 years when I get a female of my purple line shadow cross, then I'll take the Raging Red to that female and see where I go from there. You know, I have some long-term plans. I mean, I planned everything out for the next couple of years pretty much. You know? So,
and that's the way you got to be, right?
Yeah. And I really, I don't know what I'm going to get. I mean, I see some, you know what I really want? I don't know the Latin name, but they're from Arizona, those green rat snakes. Have you seen them? I'm not even sure they're just green rat snakes, not the Ganyosoma green-tailed rat snakes. They're from Arizona.
Arizona.
I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure they're from Arizona area.
Are they like just the greenish rats? They're kind of
they're
like
green, dude. They're like green. They're not like I should know, man, because I want them, dude. But they're not like.
Is it the green bush rat snakes? Is that what they're called? I think that's a.
I can't remember right now, man. For some
Okay.
reason, I don't know what it is. I could pick up my phone, but I'll let people watch this episode and text me, man. You're such a dummy, dude. You should know, but I don't right now. I'm sorry, man. But they're awesome. They're green. They're like some are more green than others, but they're wicked, dude. They're
okay.
Snake. I probably want to get some of those. I probably want to get some of those, but those are on my mind. I'm chilling out right now because I need to maybe get rid of some more leopard geckos and get rid of some more baby hogs before I think. And then plus I have 4 black box enclosures coming, some 3x3x2s, and nice. I have plans to get more because I want to get everything. I really want to get everything into enclosures, man. At least all my arboreal species, all my arboreal species into enclosures. I'd like to get some of my hogs. My hogs are in ARS, but I have they're big. They're 33 long by like 13 wide, and they're clear, so I can see them. So it's really cool.
Nice.
Years ago, I think like 2 years ago or a year ago, I stepped in my room. I'm surrounded by racks, and it's really somehow grown into racks. And I just, I want to see everything, man. I want to see the behavior. I want to see the behaviors, and I'd like to get other things into racks, man. It's just going to be a slow process, because I grew into racks. And I want to go into enclosures, and I want to be able to see behaviors and this and that. And even though I have big racks, like all my leopard geckos are in 26 quart tubs, and which are 26 by 16, and they're nice size. I believe in as big as I can get, but I want to get I want to go to enclosures. So I kind of have an idea. The more I sell, then I'm going to buy enclosures, and eventually I'll be surrounded by enclosures, man. I'll have my own little zoo. And I'll be happy. I think the hogs are going to be mostly in racks with a few. Okay. Hogs are dope, dude. Hogs are going to get some enclosures too. So I might have like a stack of enclosures for hogs, but I don't think I'll have room to really have enclosures unless I go to a building, because right now I don't have a building, but I have a pretty good garage, man. You'll see it. I'll get you over. You live in South Florida.
Yeah, I need to come by. I'll get there
for sure, man. That'll be cool, dude. I mean, that'll be cool. So, and that's pretty much it, man. I don't know what else I got, man. That's pretty much everything I have. But if I could give any insight, if you have any other questions, I'd be glad to answer them, man.
Yeah, no, that's kind of it. We're just wrapping up with the question I always like to ask is like, what do you typically say to someone what would you say to someone who's looking to get into a new colubrid species? You're all about all these different species. What's your kind of message for them? Because that's what this podcast is about, is educating people about all these new species. So what's kind of your message to them and to everyone watching today or whenever they're watching?
I think that you should get what you really want. No matter if it's considered a starter species or a more advanced species. If you're gonna put the time into something that you love, then that's what you should get. But you don't want to get, like, if you're not interested in a starter species, then don't get a starter species, because it's not going to keep you going. If you just got to do your research, man. And I feel like it's the same thing everybody says, do your research. But the information's there, man. If you want something, all you do is it is out there. All you have to do is read, man. Google anything. You'll get what you want. And another thing is I hear a lot lately, which I don't 100% agree with. I agree with it and I agree with it. All are like, whether I keep here in South Florida or you keep in, let's say, Illinois, where the humidity is not as crazy as in South Florida, obviously we're going to keep a little different because I have very high humidity. So I don't have to really provide like moist hides and stuff, because moist hides make my room, like the whole thing moist hide, it'll make the whole enclosure moist hide. I will give a little bit here and there, and mostly for egg boxes, whereas you're going to have to keep a moist hide for sheds probably in Illinois, or if you have a heater going, it's going to suck out the moisture and it's going to give you a very dry area. But if you have a parameter and say, hey, it needs to be 50% humidity, well, it has to be 50% humidity in my South Florida room, and it has to be 50% humidity in your Illinois room. It's like, that's got to be a parameter. Whether I have to spray for it or not, you're going to have to spray. I'm not going to have to spray, but they're both, and eventually you spray to get it up to 50. I do nothing to get it up to 50. We're keeping different, but we're also keeping the same, Right. So like there has to be some kind of parameters when you're telling somebody. You can't just be like, hey, it's different where I keep from where you keep, but we got to keep the same parameters. So if you look up the parameters, it says 50% humidity, you're going to spray more. So basically that's it. Just look up the species, figure out what you need, and provide it, and bam.
Right. Awesome. Cool. Well, this has been a fantastic hour and almost 50 minutes. For everyone who's watching, whenever you are watching, I will have Kevin's social media in the description. At Mutant Reptiles is the easiest way to reach you. Send you a message on Instagram. I'll let you say it, but if you have any questions for Kevin or interested in his species, go check out his content too. I mean, he has some great pictures on there. So go give him a follow. Say what's up. Tell him you enjoyed this episode. Awesome. Anything else you want to leave on?
No, that's pretty much it, man.
All right.
Fulvius Apparel. Oh, right there. Fulvius Apparel, baby.
There you go.
Gotta rep my peeps,
There you go. All right. Well, thank you so much, man. I'm going to throw you backstage real quick, run the outro, and we'll talk after.
All right, killer.
All right. Thanks, man. Guys, that was a fantastic episode. Colubrid Corruption, episode 7, you already know. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're stuck it out to the end here, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for supporting me. We're going to keep this rolling. I already have a guest for next week. She is a heavy hitter, so I'm very excited to bring her to the platform. I'm not going to spoil it yet. You guys got to wait till later in the week. As always, follow my social medias. If you follow Instagram, you'll find out who's coming on next week. Other than that, hit me up with any questions. Give me some feedback. Let me know how you've been enjoying the podcast. But as always, guys, once again, this has been episode number 7 of the Colubrid Corruption Podcast. Today with Kevin Baron of Mutant Reptiles. Hope you guys have a great Christmas, and I will talk to you all next week. Peace.